It is finally come. The finale of My Adventures with Superman dropped this Friday. No more weekly episodes. Whatever will I do for content now, players? Whatever could I use my infinite amount of time that I just have so much of doing to fill the void? Well, I guess I'll have to figure that out. But in the meantime, My Adventures with Superman episode 10 was pretty damn good. So not only will I be rating the episode, but the season overall. We are going to be getting into everything that went down in this episode, all the things I picked up on, that ending, and some predictions for season 2. But before we do any of that shit, my beautiful players, make sure to support your boy by hitting that sub button, turning on those notifications, leaving a thumbs up, following my social medias, taking the front and back pictures of your parents' credit card and send them to me right now. We pick up with Clark having a nightmare about basically destroying the Earth and all of his loved ones. We've all had that one. So he immediately dips back to his pod and then confronts Jor-El about knowing how they sent him here as a weapon and that he'll stop Kryptonians from conquering Earth if they try. But obviously, you know, he's got it all wrong. Jor-El does say some words in Kryptonian, but he also says some in English. And I'm like, bruh, you could speak English? Your boy obviously doesn't understand Kryptonian. If you could speak English this whole time, you could have explained so much shit. But it basically starts at turkey time, okay? I have no concept of the seasons in this show or the time passing, but it's Thanksgiving time now, and everyone is going to the Kent farm to celebrate. Side note, fuck turkey. The driest bird, put all the seasons you want on it, it's still gonna suck compared to chicken, which is what you should actually be having this Thanksgiving, or pizza.
How do you score that? 6-4?
Move on. Don't stand in front of my business.
Anyways, before they go to Kent Farm, they go to work, and the whole gang finally gets promoted to reporters. After getting bullshitted for most of the season, it was an extremely satisfying and actually quite warm moment for the old reporters to kind of embrace all of them. We get more warmness at Kent Farm when Martha explains how Clark always kind of distanced himself from the others because he was so afraid to hurt them, and how she appreciates her for being with him. You know, it was just a good moment of exposition for Clark and just, you know, a lot of warmth. But that all gets cut short when Lois's father comes through and it is revealed to be the general, which I have no idea. And sure, there's probably tons of generals in the world, but how Lois didn't know or think to mention her father was a general was pretty wild, okay? I have a lot more Superman reading to do, because if that was the case, I would have known even earlier that that was Sam Lane, at least earlier than I already did. Somebody said they heard Waller say Sam the last episode, but I went back and I didn't hear that, so obviously that means HBO sent that person the good version and is 100% intentionally plotting against me for, well, talking shit, which is understandable. But he comes through, fucks up the vibe. But the good thing is we get to see the relationship dynamic between him and Lois a bit. He seems overly critical, but he does care for Lois. The real catalyst for the main part of the episode is Clark discovering the redacted Superman orb, seeing the other destructive versions of himself, and coming in contact with Kryptonite once more. And the pod that he came in also reacts to it, and I'm guessing that sets off some type of alarm for Brainiac. As we see inside the pod, Jor-El reacts to it and calls it the poison. The general sees this and freaks out, thinks 0 Day 2 is happening again, and calls for reinforcements. They discover that the robots can be hurt with kryptonite as well, so Clark grabs the orb and presses into the ship, calling for the invasion back in space. He breaks into it and pushes forward the waves of robots with the help of the Jor-El ghost, which was pretty badass. A lot of dynamic action and great animation. He plunges the kryptonite into the core of the ship, and eventually the Jor-El ghost does speak to him in English and orders a pod to send him back to Earth to avoid the explosion. You know, he makes it back in front of the general's barrel, who was about to take a shot until ride or die Lois Lane steps in the way and gets the general to drop the Omega Blicky and calls off the reinforcements. You know, the episode ends with Clark being okay, everybody except the general enjoying Thanksgiving, Jimmy letting us know he's rich after selling the Flame Bird to the Daily Planet, which, you know, how that will affect things next season, I have no idea. The true ending is the reveal of not only Brainiac, but of Zod being behind the initial invasion. Yes, this was him, and I guess Brainiac was in charge of the tech. You know, shout out to Thad, who was on the money with his prediction. I thought they were trying to finesse us, but it seems that Zod was after Earth on 0 Day. I have no idea, but I have a feeling it has to do with kryptonite. You know, maybe they're trying to eliminate kryptonite or weaponize it. I'm not too sure, especially from from that last moment between him and Brainiac, it seems like there's other Earths that he could conquer to make new Krypton. So it is kind of weird why they would want to go back to Earth or invade it. But a second invasion is definitely coming. The only things I kind of didn't like were, and this should come as no surprise, but the designs for Brainiac and Zod. And honestly, Brainiac's design is kind of cool. I actually fuck with the Hammerhead helmet, and hopefully there's still a green skin mofo underneath all that. But Zod looks like he's been skipping hella leg days and hunchmaxing like a mofo. Okay, he does not look good in my opinion, but I have hope that the designs will get better since the other villains did improve, even just by a little. It's also kind of just weird that they're working together, since what Brainiac did with Kandor, I feel Zod would have on-site beef with him. I'd actually recommend The Last Stand of New Krypton. It's like this little 3-issue miniseries from 2010 about Brainiac attacking the new planet Krypton, and him and Zod fight. Zod was like about to kill him, you know, he was whipping his ass, but obviously Superman stopped him. It's a nice little story, good art, plenty of action. And the only other thing I can think of is, honestly, I just wish these episodes were at least 10 minutes longer. Okay, like the episodes of Invincible were at least 40 minutes, you know, twice as long as these. I just feel like you can get a lot more done with that amount of time, and again, sit in more emotional moments. I think they are very efficient with their time, but I feel like they'd get to do what they already do good even better if they had more time. All in all, I think it's good. I was wrong about a Justice League member popping up. I think it would have taken away from what little time they have and distracted from what was going on with the main characters. I have a feeling Clark is going to be spending a lot more time in the pod, or more so the new Fortress of Solitude, training with Jor-El for Zod and learning about his Kryptonian heritage, unlocking new powers, and maybe more secrets to the universe. You know, who knows? When season 2 does eventually come out, which I believe, since season 2 was said to be made around the same time as season 1, we could expect it as early as next year, probably fall or winter. This episode was great, solid 8 out of 10, which then leads me to giving My Adventures with Superman season 1 a fluctuating 7.5 to 8 out of 10. At the end of the day, I wish the episodes were longer. There were some lulls in the season, and some of the character designs I just do not mess with, but I think it shines for what it is, which is a wholesome and fresh take on Superman and the whole Superman gang, and one that seems will continue to grow and evolve over time. But let me know what you thought of this season, players, if you liked it or not, what you would have changed, and what kinds of things you're looking forward to or expecting out of season 2. And you know, when do you think season 2 is coming? I'm pretty sure it's next year though. But that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. I hope all of you guys are well, and I will see you in the next one.